So, the main review of the week, the big movie that had like a short run in theaters and is now streaming on Apple TV Plus by Lachlan and me. It was crowned the crispiest streaming service out there, even for screeners, by the way. Great quality. Can't say that about any other streaming service, to be honest. Fingernails, the second feature from Christos Nikou, who I don't think you saw Apples, right? You're not familiar with his previous film. Really weird conceptual world that he established there as well, about like a guy who forgets stuff. And here it's about love, a movie about love and fingernails and the scientific influence that it has taken recently, and basically a soft sci-fi here. So Lachlan, could you read us the logline for the film?
Of course, mate. Let me go ahead and do that for you.
We don't need no fingernails. We're in love. We know.
Anna and Ryan have found true love together. It's been proven by a controversial test. There's just one problem. Anna still isn't sure. Then she meets Amir.
This sounds like a great
That's
prompt to throw into like an AI like ChatGPT or something like that and see what it comes up with. Tell me a story about those. Controversial tests. I wonder what it goes with. The first thing it goes with, like, is one of them real? Is the other one AI? But no, the movie has played at some festivals. I caught it at the Zurich Film Festival. It's almost 2 hours long, 113 minutes, so a bit on the longer side when it comes to a romance film, but it does have a lot to do to set up the like the world that we are in. It's been received, I'd say, like lukewarmish. Some people really like the beginning stages of the film and then think often share that they think it doesn't really stick the landing or go anywhere super interesting. So the ratings kind of average around like a 3.2 on Letterboxd, a 6.3 on IMDb, and a 62 on Metacritic. So critics and audiences do kind of agree on this film. Had a budget of 10 million, and because it only was in theaters for a short while, there's no real grosses for the film. But like I said, you can go see it right now on Apple TV Plus. It premiered earlier this year at Telluride and is by actually an Aussie film company. They were part of the co-production company called Dirty Films. They also made a Little Fish, for example, also starring Cate Blanchett. She's an executive producer on Fingernails. And also another film that she was in, The New Boy, that we both missed in Gun. So that's kind of tied to Cate Blanchett, her interest in this. And then also Film Nation Entertainment, a bigger production company who has made big films like Arrival, Promising Young Woman, Room, Under the Skin, Looper. So they are kind of in that sphere of sci-fi films that they often operate in. It comes from the Greek director Christos Nikou, and it's his first time working with an English cast, and that being a heck of a good one, with Jesse Buckley. Then we also got Jeremy Allen White and Riz Ahmed in it. We also got Luke Wilson, who I know Lachlan likes quite a bit from all of the Wes Anderson appearances that he has made. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna dive into the film now. And Lachlan, I went in with the expectation of getting you to watch this film, that maybe that's something that doesn't fully click for you, that this wouldn't be like your type of film, where for me it was obvious that maybe it was a bit more for me because I'm a bit of a sucker for romances. So what were your thoughts coming out of the movie?
So from a romance perspective, yes, you're correct. I don't like seek out romance films, but doesn't mean I don't want to watch them. So yes. I wouldn't say that you could kind of guess that I wouldn't like this film, because what I really like is the weirdness of this film, the quirkiness, the surrealist side to this film that I really enjoyed. The romance side is what carries you along, for at least for myself. It's the interesting idea of making love a tangible yes or no that intrigued me. And that is super interesting to me, is taking a concept that is at its core very complex. Like, how can you tell that you love somebody, right?
Mhm.
What are the
Yeah.
physical signs other than just you kind of know? But
Mhm.
what if we had a test that goes, yes, you scientifically love this person. You
Yeah.
scientifically don't love this person. And that
Yeah.
intrigued me. And
Mhm.
similar to Jesse Buckley's character, I was intrigued on the tests and how they proved it, right? And
Yeah.
we can get into that, but
Mhm.
I didn't dislike this film as much as I thought when I started it, at least, because
Yeah.
I didn't know anything going in. I didn't watch any trailers. You just said, "Hey, we got to watch Fingernails this week," and I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
cool." I whacked it on, and I was like, Ewan, you've got me watching a romance movie. Fuck you. And it ended up being an enjoyable journey for me, at least. So for me, I didn't hate my time.
That's great. That's
I'm
great.
sure
I
you
love.
fucking love this movie.
So
Yes.
I watched it at the Zurich Film Festival, gave it a really good rating, seeing it in a theater, and then I rewatched it last night, expecting to be a bit down on it a bit more, to critique it a bit more in what it's going for. And by the end of it, I was like, nope. I don't like certain things about it, or some things are clunky when the dialogue is kind of needed to add some um to add context, to basically do exposition, and there's a bunch of things that you could definitely tell are like from a non-English speaking director, the way that he makes them say stuff and phrase it and explain it. That I don't know how to put that into words myself, but I just kind of felt that it wasn't an mainly English speaking director who was doing this one. But the concept is just so fucking good. Like, it has so much potential. And I think, without getting into a specific spoiler just yet, we'll get into that in just a second. I think the movie just starts to be really interesting right when it ends. I think that's like where I wanted to have more of it. So I was like aching for more, as these characters were also aching for more of a confirmation. But do they need that confirmation? Like, that whole dynamic is so ripe for a lot of stuff, because it extends beyond the allegory that it's trying to go for that's not a word, but science, how do you say that, making something an adverb for science, for scientifiable. We are here innovating
All
new
right.
words. That's like, I don't know, how would you describe that, like making it on the merit of science, kind of, putting all of, yeah, I don't know, I don't have the words for it, but basically giving so much power to science over something that we don't really, for, like, I would say we wouldn't say that love is quantifiable, or would you say that as like something that you can calculate and that you can pinpoint to, and to make, like, set a number next to love and its strongness and how intense it is? Do you think like that's something that's possible?
No. But that's why I like this movie, because it tries to do
Exactly,
it,
yeah.
and that's quite
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
That is the key thing. I thought when I was watching this, I was like, oh, it's a lobster ripoff. What am I doing here? Why am I watching a lobster? Like, is this like, have I downloaded the wrong lobster movie? Like, what the hell's going on here? Because the film, unfortunately, doesn't ever really jump into the weirdness of it all. Like, it really stays away from it. Like, it's got a meter long stick between diving into it and just not. So that's unfortunate, because I really felt that this film would have benefited from really diving into the weird and wacky that it's trying to achieve, because there is this weird vibe that you get at this place, right? This is the Love Institute, but there doesn't really feel much love actually there.
No.
And there's these weird experiments, but like, how do they correlate to love? Like the zapping of the chest when the partner leaves. I was like, I get it, that's funny, that's weird, but it never really goes much further than these are some outrageous experiments to see whether or not it's tangible love. And that was like the only part that ever got it to the weirdness for me.
I think the thing is, like, how the way I see this world is they figured out this thing to see if someone's in love by something like matching, and you can kind of have your own belief if that's true or not. It seems to be working on the confirmation bias, at least, that like if you get the match, the 100%, then you're meant to be, so you stick together, like that kind of arrangement for marriage. But then the kind of strengthening of it all, like those exercises that they do, those experiments, feel like they haven't really figured out why it is, because it might be quantifiable by like something physical that they can have, but they still don't understand it. They still don't know what makes people fall in love or what strengthens someone's bond. At least, like, I don't know if you could have that with there's always an audience as well, right? They do these things, but they don't do them one-on-one and give them privacy. It's always in a group. So it comes from like a disconnect, a non-understanding of like romance. Would you say there's something that you can do that's really romantic while like 4 other couples are looking at you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Your swinger session from last week. No,
Jesus.
No, sorry.
Well, no. Okay, this is gonna get really like deep and meaningful, I guess. But like love,
Yeah.
like there's the basic concept of like love language. Like every
Yep.
human's got a different love language. Some of it might be subtle. Some of it might be big. Like you don't have to, zap yourself to know that you're in love with somebody. Because you might just want to make sure that you care about them. So it's funny because I was starting to agree with like their methodology. I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense. And then it gets more and more extreme, like to the point that they're like throwing people out of a plane and like, why can't I do this with an instructor? Well, you might fall in love with the instructor. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like
that was
it got to
me that was
extreme
one of
point.
the funniest lines in the movie. It was so that's the
You might fall in
weirdness,
love with the the
right?
instructor.
The off guard weirdness that you just catch.
If we want to get into it,
Spoilers.
I don't know. We're not really trying to do spoilers, but we probably should because
No, we can. I think I can
discuss.
definitely recommend it. Like based on the world it establishes, I think it's definitely worth checking out. I think it also goes beyond that. That the cast that they got add so much richness to these characters, where maybe from the writing alone and with a different cast, I think this would have been definitely a lesser movie. But just looking into Riz Ahmed's eyes, and I feel like 20 different emotions at the same time. I think he's that type of actor. We got like Jesse Buckley and Riz Ahmed might be some of the best actors working, definitely one of the best actors working in their, I think they're both in their 30s right now. They're incredible, and I think they're going to continue to put out great work. So for them alone, I think it's worth seeing. And then, it has an intriguing world.